Well, I think that when we group together, when every 7,000 rare diseases, 1 in 12 Canadians, when we group together, we have a voice. When I stand alone with my little disease, I don't have a very big voice with the government, federal, provincial, drug manufacturers. Once there's an atmosphere for innovation, once there's an atmosphere willingness to, you're not getting me mad, you're getting me excited. Once there's an atmosphere to um, bring solutions to patients, then it's infectious because the government's willing to work with pharmaceutical companies. The patients are willing to work. And when I first got diagnosed, there was nothing going on. The drug we were taking was that was it. No other solutions, and there was no reason to believe that anybody would want to develop another treatment or drug or cure. So once we get some energy in the environment, even once one drug company starts working on a solution, other drug companies enter the market. Scientists, researchers go for grants trying to help us. So that encourages me to be part of a larger organization.
What I find really frustrating in Canada is that globally there's a lot of knowledge and expertise and available readily for free all over the world. But in Canada, the postal code lottery still is at play. So depending on which province you live in as to which health technologies and pharmaceutical products that you might be able to have access to. So if you live in Alberta, you can get medication that helps shrink tumors that are caused by TSC. If you live in BC or Saskatchewan, you cannot get that same medication that's very effective. If you live in Ontario, you may have had to have 2 surgeries first before you can have access to the medication. So it's not, I think in 2016, not being able to access medication in Canada is a travesty.
I would like to see all kids, like my son, in those early stages of life when they present with a developmental delay that's obvious. I would like to see them go straight to bringing that whole exome sequencing into the public health plan. Sooner than later, it's important. I think it must save money in the health system in the long term, considering all the tests that were done leading up to there. And at that time of life, to be going through that much testing for your child and for yourself, the weight that puts on the family, the time traveling, the invasive procedures. I just would like to really see that integrated into our health system sooner than later, not take 10 years to do it. Do it now. I think it's super valuable, even if there isn't a treatment. It's really, really valuable.
I want everybody in Canada to have the same access. I want everybody in Canada to have the same availability for these expensive or off-label drugs if it's been proven to help with other people who have the disease.
It's the education part of it. The government, or I mean, the hospitals, the doctors, sometimes it seems they're looking for the easy answer and the simple solution. And the amazing part about it is, and especially for me with HAE, and I can't say it's the same for every other rare disease, but it is a simple solution if you look there. But if you don't, then you waste a lot of time and you waste a lot of resources. So how do you get from, don't just look for, don't look for a common thing. Look for something that's uncommon. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how to tell them how to do that. I wish I did, because I would. I'd be happy to. And I think, for the most part, what is making a difference and what changes things are patient organizations who are able to talk about, get people listening. Because, I mean, when I first started, got involved with the HAE Canada, and started talking to people, most people have never heard of what I have. And when I come into a group like this, I haven't heard of most of these things. I have no idea. But at the same time, I have an idea what each person goes through, because even though it's completely different and I'll say unrelated, but we're sort of all the same thing. Everybody has that same experience, trying to find out why you are like you are.
The emotion out, or the patient input, as being, stop dismissing it and start realizing that there's really valid information that can be gathered, and that it should be same availability for everybody in Canada, not just depending on what province you live in.
Well, obviously, I'd like everybody, I'd like more funding and more resources put towards education for rare diseases, and I'd like an orphan drug strategy for Canada. It seems crazy to me that we don't have one. That's one major thing that I think that we'd like to see. And a focus on rare diseases. We're part of the patient population in general, and we have unique needs outside of that, and they often go unrecognized. And so I think education for populations in general, but also medical professionals. That's what I would want.
There's a few of us out there that have older children with Dravet, and that's probably one of the things that we're trying to really share with the younger families, is that they have issues now. Their children are 6 months, 8 months, couple of years, 5, 10, whatever, and we don't want to scare them too much into the future. But that transition time right now in the present day is terrible. It's almost like everything stops at 18. And you have to reapply for funding. Funding is very limited. Programs are very limited. Daniela's not in a box. Like, she doesn't fit in a box. So it's really hard because of the seizure piece. And in our situation, it's not only paying for program, it's also paying for a worker to go with her to a program. So you're kind of getting double hit. I hate to make it all about money, but it's almost like there is money out there, and some are getting it and some aren't. There's never enough.